Okay, following up on the trial of the Alexander brothers from yesterday, a few notes from the courtroom. Yesterday, there was the testimony of Lindsay Akery, who her primary focus of her testimony was an alleged assault by Tall Alexander, an unnamed man. That man is someone that she later identified by face as Eric Yechezkel. I'm not sure that she knows his name, but this is an important detail because when she also pursued a civil case against Tall Alexander, her friend, and someone under the pseudonym of John Doe. The person that was served as the John Doe was Eric Yechezkel. Now, Eric Yechezkel provided evidence that he was not in the country on the initial date that Lindsay Akery stated to the government, or at least what the government included in the initial indictment, which was July 4th weekend of 2011. That date was then switched by the government to Memorial Day weekend. And Lindsay Akery a few times tried to say that she has maintained it was always a holiday weekend, and perhaps the government made a mistake with the indictment. And instead of saying July 2011, it should have been May 2011. There was a suggestion from the defense yesterday that was not introduced before the jury that Eric Yechezkel also might not have been in the courtroom, might not have been in the country in May of 2011 as well. Lindsay Akery was quoted by the New York Times as saying that she had a sip of wine and then her memory is essentially just nothing. That testimony expanded, at least in what was printed with the Miami Herald. And 3 days before Lindsay Akery took the stand, she told the government that Tall Alexander had R-worded her by sticking his man parts in her mouth. That was the first time that it was recorded by the government in her 11 meetings as having made that allegation. Again, I'm being very careful here. I'm trying to present the facts. In no way am I defending Paul Oren or Alone Alexander. I'm trying to present the facts as they were presented in the courtroom and in a court of law. Nothing to do with people saying, oh, you're defending R-worders. Just by stating the facts, you are not defending R-worders. That is not at all what I intend to do or what I'm trying to do by stating the facts. And it was very interesting in the courtroom when Eric Yechezkel was facially ID'd because he had been acknowledged as an alleged co-conspirator by the government based on his text messages. I think it was Lions of Tulum. The government alleges he's a co-conspirator, which leads many in the courtroom to wonder if he's an alleged co-conspirator, why wasn't he arrested? And why, when the Alexander brothers were not granted bail federally, is this man still on the streets? That's a fair question that many people had walking out of the courtroom. Lindsay Akery also said that after her alleged assault, she woke up on a lawn chair outside of the home, walked inside. Tall said something to her along the lines of, you had quite the night. And then she was asked to leave and was replaced by 14-year-olds. That's a very serious allegation. She said she saw them as she was leaving. And then later in her testimony said that she had a conversation with them. Didn't appear to be particularly long, but then she says she had a conversation with them and they said they were freshmen in high school and 14. There was no evidence presented to that effect, other than the fact that she said that that's what these women allegedly told her. But it wasn't as if they had a picture of these women or if there was a driver's license or any way to actually confirm that. I don't see how the cross-examination and the inconsistencies with that was believable to the jury. That said, who knows? But in the room, it did not appear that she was particularly believable on cross. On direct examination, it was a different story. She was far more composed, and you could tell that she actually struggled to respond in cross significantly more than she did when she was having a direct examination. So, those are some quick thoughts on yesterday's testimony. I will be back later with more and on the other additional witness who testified. But that's just some thoughts. Again, for all the trolls out there, this is not defending our orders. This is not trying to paper over any misgivings or misdeeds. If you actually read the content of what I'm saying, I'm extremely critical. In the United States, we also have a core rule of law, and it's important that the law and the justice system works properly, and everyone has the right and obligation to receive a fair trial. I think that's the least any American should ask for. 12 jurors will make a decision, and that's it.